Welcome to Paint the Town Dead. This is one half of your host, Caitlin.
And I'm the spooky co-ghost, Andrew.
Oh wait, Andrew, it's not Halloween.
Oh,
is it done? Is that retired till next year?
Yeah, I guess so.
Well, we hope you guys liked. Andrew did some hard work on the editing of the spooky co-ghost session with the alternate. I don't know if you guys noticed, but that was Andrew's idea. The alternate what intro song. We had two different versions, and he used the alternate version, which was pretty cool. I liked it.
Yeah, make it creepy.
You did good.
Because you didn't expect it.
I did, because you told me.
Yeah, I told you like months ago.
But that was some good thinking. So, anyways.
Well, and here's the thing. Halloween, spooky stuff, you can do that whenever you want. We talked about that at the end of the last episode, where it doesn't matter. You don't have to watch The Witch during October. You can watch that in November. You could watch it in June or July if you wanted to.
I think I watched it in, I don't remember what month I watched it in, to be honest. April? May?
No idea.
Okay.
But it wasn't October, that's for sure.
It wasn't.
So how do you feel about things that happened 100 years ago?
Well, I know you like it.
That's right. Well, you're going to have to like it because this here, episode 35, we're talking about Tom Slaughter.
Wait. Tom Slaughter.
Tom Slaughter.
Is Slaughter a nickname? Or is that...
That's like his...
or is that his real name?
I think that's his real name.
How? I know nothing about this, but that is an interesting name. Perfect serial killer name.
That's a name that people have.
Yeah, but are they murderers?
I mean, not all of them.
All right.
Sergeant Slaughter, he's a traitor to America. He sided with the Iraqis during the first Gulf War.
Ooh.
And sided with the Iron Sheik, who they were Iraqi sympathizers.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Which is messed up because the Iron Sheik was actually from Iran, and Iran and Iraq were like big enemies at the time, and are, I guess, sort of. Anyway, Tom Slaughter, who, no relation to Sergeant Slaughter as far as I know.
Okay.
He was born in Bernice, Louisiana, December 25th of 1896.
That's Christmas.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
But back then, they didn't have Christmas. It wasn't invented yet.
Because it was 100 years ago.
Right. Okay. Christmas wasn't invented yet.
Okay. Again, we are not scientists.
Back then, Christmas was in spring before they took it from the pagans.
On the spring solstice.
Yeah, it was because...
I was born on the spring solstice.
Listen, Jesus wasn't born in winter.
He wasn't.
No, that's pretty much confirmed.
That's true.
The exact date I don't think is known. But
that's the observation of the holiday.
Yeah, we observed the holiday then in December.
That's because that's when Elf on the Shelf comes.
That's right. Elf on the Shelf was invented, and he was like, "Why don't we combine what I'm doing with you, Jesus?"
Yeah, let's all do it together.
That's
Christmas. Thank you, guys. We'll see you next.
That's history.
Okay.
So yeah, Bernice, Louisiana. I don't know anything about that town other than it's in Louisiana, a lawless, swampy state.
Hey, I love it.
Yes. Just get rowdy.
Gross.
And he moved to Dallas, Texas at some point. Also, that's a fine place.
That's a pretty cool place. They have a Topgolf there.
They do. I like going to Dallas. I watched a hockey game there once and football and baseball.
I stopped there on a plane.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's also my story about like Detroit and Louisville.
It's very cool.
I stopped there on a plane and then the plane took off again.
And that was it.
Yep. That was my whole experience in both Kentucky and Michigan.
There you go.
So he lived in Dallas until he was 14 years old. He would move to Pope County, Arkansas.
Hey,
that's where Russellville is.
We know that place.
Yeah. He was a troublemaker, as you'd imagine, because this episode is about him.
Oh, tell me.
So, 1911, he was convicted of stealing a calf.
Like a cow?
Yes.
Okay.
A baby cow.
A baby cow.
Yeah. I don't know why they wouldn't just call it a baby cow, It's confusing.
Yeah.
So he's sentenced to the Arkansas Boys Industrial Home, and a few months later, he escaped.
Of course he did.
Yeah. I think...
This is, what did you say, Russellville?
So the place he went to is not in Russellville.
Okay.
But he was from around Russellville.
Gotcha. Okay.
But yeah, it seems like you could just escape willy-nilly back then from jails.
Sure.
As you may see later on in this story.
Uh-oh.
And after he got out, he went back to Russellville. And the sheriff saw him, and he was like basically taunting him. So the sheriff arrested him.
Very good.
Threw him in jail.
Very good.
And he escaped the second night he was there.
Wow. Yeah,
so he's
really good, or the security was pretty lax.
Yeah, that or like, jails maybe were not great. Yeah. Seems like it was just like a house, and they're like, hey,
we're going to close this door. Please don't leave. There's nothing on the windows.
I imagine it's like that episode of Arrested Development when Job is in jail in Iraq, and they're basically trying to trick him into escaping so they can follow him because they think he knows something. Mm-hmm. And so they're like leave the keys like right on like in his cell, and he's like, "You idiots! You left these here!" and like throws them back to him and stuff. Or like they leave and they leave the cell door open entirely. He's like, "Good job, guys!" and like closes the door himself. So that's a good show. Yeah, so that's what I imagine jail is like back then. Just like, it's the honor system.
Yeah, just stay in here.
I'm going to leave this unlocked if you need to go to the bathroom, and
I'm going to go get some whiskey at the saloon.
I'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah.
So, 1916, he's in Dallas. He's back in Dallas, and he's going to be arrested for stealing cars.
Wow.
And he goes to jail.
Wait, I want to guess. He stays in this time.
No.
Oh.
He escapes from what is described as one of the most strongly built jails in the Southwest.
So is he just really good?
I guess, maybe. And he also got 7 other prisoners out when he did it.
Wow.
Just like, hey, let's all go.
Cool.
And he's going to be apprehended once more later on, sentenced to 6 years in the Texas penitentiary. And in July of 1917, he escapes from that jail too.
Wow.
This one, he did so by knocking out a guard with a shovel.
Where did he get a shovel from? How did he hide that?
It might have been one of those things where they're like, we're going to take you to the side of the road and you're doing work or something.
And he said, okay, wink.
Yeah. And I'm sure, like, it sucked being that guard. I'm sure he was in, like, Concussion City there.
Ugh.
Just, bad times all around.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Tom Slaughter, he's gonna form himself a gang, which is what you did back then. And they would go around robbing banks and stuff, which again seems like a thing you could just do pretty easily back then, relatively so.
Yeah.
Like they robbed banks in Oklahoma, Texas, Arkansas, Kansas, Kentucky, and weirdly enough, one in Pennsylvania, which is not like the others.
A little far off.
Yeah, one of those is not like the others.
Yeah.
And in 1918, he's captured again.
Wow.
Returned to Texas. And this is actually one of my favorite stories to come out of this.
Ready.
So he is in jail, and while he's there, he takes a pin and he pricks hundreds of holes in his face and body.
What?
And then covered them with oil, which caused a rash to form. And then he ate 2 cakes of soap to give himself a fever. So hospital officials were like, oh no, he's got smallpox.
Do you see my face? This is the weirdest thing I've ever heard. Okay.
Yeah. So he made them think he had smallpox. So they isolated him, and then he escaped.
Wow. Man, he went to some extreme lengths.
Yeah, I'm sure like he probably had a lot of time to think up new and creative ideas. He probably knew like, I'm going to get captured again at some point. I got to keep coming up with stuff to do. And so that's my favorite one, when he tricked him into thinking he had smallpox.
Wow. That's
probably wasn't fun either.
Commitment to the art.
And yeah, so I assume in the 1910s, just escaping from jail is just a thing you do easily. At least it sure seems like it.
He may seem like it.
Yeah. 1919, the Slaughter Gang, they go and steal $24,000 in a noon bank robbery. Again, just like
in the middle of the
day, just go in, do a bank robbery, and get away.
Me too.
Seems like a thing you could do.
Yeah.
It reminds me of the John Mulaney bit where he's like, I don't know, talking about bank robbers, and it's like, hey, if anybody asks, tell him it's Golden Joe, and like shoots his name in bullets into the walls, because it's like, what are you gonna do about it?
Yeah.
Apparently, you just get away with everything.
He's very,
at least for a while.
Doesn't he play Spider Pig?
Yes.
In the
Peter Porker.
Peter Porker, that's it. In Spider-Verse.
Yes.
Okay.
And so yeah, $24,000. That is $361,000 in 2020 money.
You did the calculation.
You better believe I did.
Nice.
Because that's what I am about. So when they rob a bank in Pennsylvania, Tom Slaughter and an accomplice of his named Fulton Green end up killing a bank cashier.
Aww.
And in September of 1920, they rob a bank in Graham, Texas, which is, and they did this one on like a Saturday afternoon, just like in the middle of the day.
Weekend shiggles.
There's people everywhere, and it's like, no, we're still doing it.
Nice.
Supposedly he had like a flair for the theatrical, so I think that may have been like, check us out.
I come to rob your bank.
Yeah. And October 1920, Slaughter and 4 of his men and 2 women, they go on down to Hot Springs, Arkansas.
Oh my gosh, we know that place.
Yeah.
We know.
And that's a place with a bit of a sordid history with the mobster types.
The gangsters.
So yeah, of course him and his crew's going to go down there and hang out, have some fun. They get super drunk and they are disturbing the peace.
Appropriate.
And the cops show up. They're like, "Hey, can you not disturb the peace? We like the peace."
Yeah.
And Slaughter and Fulton Green, they're like, "No, we don't like the peace." So they have a shootout with the cops.
What? But why?
Because
it's the weekend at noon.
Because that's 1920s America. That's what you did.
Because that's Hot Springs.
That's what Hot Springs is all about.
It's really not nowadays. I like Hot Springs.
It's probably still like that.
Yeah.
It's just a little more on the down low.
Uh-huh.
So in this gunfight, one Sheriff Roe Brown is going to be killed.
Aww.
And Officer Bill Wilson is injured. And after this, there is a $5,000 reward for the capture of Slaughter and Green, which is about $75,000.
Wow.
In the days of now.
That's a lot.
It sure is. And so obviously, you have a shootout with the cops. You don't try and stick around. That's one where you're like, okay, we got to go somewhere else now, which is what they're doing anyway all the time.
Yeah.
And so him and Green, they run off to Oklahoma, which is, another lawless place. Probably still at this point, especially to some extent.
Yeah. Oh, and they had snow there last week.
Weird.
It is weird.
The Oklahoma, I don't know when it stopped being a place as like a haven for outlaws, but it has not stopped in 1920.
Because it's there.
Yeah. I've looked at some other stories from like this time period as well, and it's a lot of like, we're going to Oklahoma.
Yeah.
We're going to go do whatever.
You can hide in Oklahoma. Yeah,
and I assume this is after Oklahoma stops being Indian territory, but maybe it just isn't developed yet. Totally. Not sure.
Gotcha.
So he gets to Oklahoma. He starts himself a new gang. Because that's what,
why not?
You started one gang, you're going to start another one.
Sure.
It's what you know. People do what they know.
Yeah.
And eventually, he's going to get busted in Kansas, a.k.a. Kensaw. And so Arkansas tries to extradite him because, he murdered a cop.
Yeah.
And Kansas is kind of like, I don't know if we want to do that.
But why?
And it's because the sheriff in charge of this needed to have the wheels greased a little bit.
Oh, he needed a little money?
Yeah, so they had to bribe a Kansas sheriff to get the extradition going.
I don't blame him. It's Kansas.
Old-timey stuff, just like...
Is it, though? Is it that old-timey?
Sure would like to think so, but...
Yeah.
I've seen the news.
Yeah.
So they get him finally. They send him to prison in Little Rock, the one true city.
Yeah.
And there's like... So you know how he had all these plans for getting out of jail, obviously.
Yeah.
So he came up with another one. It sounds really horrible, where he was going to get somebody to cause a passenger train to wreck.
Oh.
And that would act as a distraction so that he could get away.
No, that sounds terrible.
Yeah.
No, this is his other escape plan. He gets his mom into there. And then she takes the polyjuice potion and then turns into him. And then she stays in his cell. And then he takes polyjuice potion and then leaves. And then he goes on the run and he's in hiding.
Or it can be like that part in Crimes of Grindelwald where his loyal subject is actually the one in jail looking like Grindelwald, and then Grindelwald busts that guy out for like no reason.
Yeah.
It's not a good movie. It's really dumb and bad.
I'm talking about number 4.
I know what you're talking about.
Okay.
I'm just talking about a different
But not
thing.
in the movie, only the book.
Okay.
Okay.
That's fine. It's fine. You don't have to be
okay.
You don't have to be such an elitist about it.
Okay. Okay, continue.
So that plan never comes to fruition, though.
None of those do.
None of those do, because 2 of them are completely fictional.
Are they?
And involve magic. And at this time, though, he's going to be visited by a minister named Reverend W.B. Hogg. And
nice. And that's where the Razorbacks came from.
That's right. And that may have been before they were called the Razorbacks. You know, we could probably start this up.
I don't know.
They would have been like, I don't know when they became Razorbacks. They started off as Cardinals, which is just like everybody who wore cardinal red started off as the Cardinals because they wore cardinal red.
Cardinal red.
Yeah, but eventually they changed to Razorbacks at some point. I don't know when though.
Anyway.
So yeah, he's hanging out with this reverend here in jail, and he's gonna be converted and baptized to be a Methodist. Mm-hmm. And Hogg is like a big advocate for Slaughter. He's like, no, he's good now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I see where this is going.
Maybe.
Oh, okay.
January 1921, mm-hmm. Slaughter goes off to Tucker Prison Farm, and
where's that?
I don't know.
Oh,
probably in Tucker. I don't know.
Okay.
But the warden there, D. Horton, is not a fan. He's wanting to, get after this Slaughter guy because he thinks he's a big deal. He's a tall, handsome ladies' man, and he thinks he's just the cock of the walk, and so the warden's a real prick to him, and like beats him and all that kind of stuff.
Jeez. And
also at this time, there were 3 different women who claimed to be Slaughter's wife.
What?
And they probably all thought they were.
Ruh-roh. Oops.
Because, outlaw running around. Yeah. There was a Myrtle Slaughter from El Dorado, Nora Brooke from Ponca City, Oklahoma, and a Mabel Slaughter from Joplin, Missouri.
Boy, he got around.
You better believe it.
A different lady in every state.
That's right. He probably had one in like Kansas as well.
No, in Louisiana.
Maybe. Didn't seem like he spent a lot of time in Louisiana, though, Just
there briefly. Just stopping by.
Yeah, like he was born there, and that's about it.
Gotcha.
And in September 18th, 1921, he kills a fellow inmate named Bliss Atkinson during an escape attempt. He had like a rifle that had been smuggled in for him.
How did he get it?
Got smuggled in for him. I don't know.
Wow.
They probably didn't have metal detectors back then.
You're probably right.
I don't think those were a thing.
Nah.
This Bliss Atkinson, we might actually talk about him in the future. Oh. He was in jail for his role in the Cleburne County Draft War. Oh. Which was basically, without getting too far into the details, Bliss and some other people were like, we're not going to go fight in World War I. And then the police were like, yeah, you are. And they're like, nah. So then they have a fight with guns.
Oh, my.
So, yeah. And Slaughter, he's going to be tried for that killing in Pine Bluff, Arkansas here. He's going to be found guilty and sentenced to death. And he's transported to Little Rock, and he's guarded around the clock.
Probably a good call.
Because he is always breaking out of jail. Man, that's his whole deal.
He's good at it.
That's his life's calling.
That's his kitsch.
If he hadn't been like a horrible criminal, maybe he could have been like a Houdini type.
Yeah.
Done like shows.
But alas, he's a really horrible person.
Right. And 1 week before his execution is scheduled, he pretends to be sick.
Does he poke himself again?
It didn't say how he pretended to be sick. Uh-huh. Maybe he was just like made himself throw up or something. Uh-huh. He was like, I'm not pricking myself with a pin 100 times again.
He's like,
that's
that
no
was
fun.
Terrible.
And when he's doing that, he is able to overpower a couple of guards.
No way.
But he was helped because he had a revolver that had been smuggled in for him.
Who is doing this? Who is smuggling it in? How are they smuggling it in?
I mean, he's obviously got mobster connections.
Listen, they better make everybody get naked and do a cavity search.
This is naked jail.
Naked jail.
We're going to keep it nice and warm, but no clothing.
It's terrifying.
It's all hanging out there.
Ew.
And, so he's able to do that. And, he invites everyone to try and break out with him. He's like, hey, guys.
Look, I broke out. Let's all go.
Yeah. And he takes like the nurse hostage, takes her to the warden's apartment, E.H. Dempsey's apartment. It seemed like it was there, yeah.
Okay.
And he takes the warden and his family hostage for a while.
Oh my gosh.
And eventually...
Does he think this is going to have a good this isn't making things better?
Listen.
Oh.
I mean, maybe it does work. Maybe it almost works. Let's find out.
Okay.
Because, I mean, he's had some good outcomes earlier.
He's broken out quite a bit.
He just keeps going back to jail.
Yeah.
You'd think he would figure out something to be like, okay, let's not go back.
Yeah.
Let's stay out forever.
Yeah.
So, Slaughter and 6 other prisoners, they take the warden's car and drive off. So they're on the run. And Benton police are going to try and get them. They're going to set up a roadblock. But the convicts, they know what's coming. So they basically just like abandon the car and go out into the woods and camp.
What? Camp?
I mean, it's not like our modern day camping of like...
They're just hiding out.
Hanging out.
Camping out, yeah.
Yeah, they're roughing it here.
Gotcha, okay. They're not glamping.
Yeah, they're not like Tom Haverford with his... little ice cream maker or whatever.
Love it.
But out in the woods,
someone built a fire. They saw the smoke.
He finally gets got. One of the other inmates, Jack Howard, shoots him 3 times.
What?
And kills him.
Why?
So he's going to claim that he escaped with Slaughter so that he could try and stop him from escaping. Mm-hmm. And here's the real reason. So Howard's he's gonna be taken back to prison, obviously, because he is a prisoner. But he got the $500 reward for killing Tom Slaughter. So
he wanted that money. He was like, "Yeah, I'll go with you."
Yeah.
Bam, bam.
And it was like the reward was even like dead or alive, old timey style.
Wanted, dead or alive. I'm Janet Sniggle.
So. Tom Slaughter's dead December 9th, 1921, just a couple of weeks before his 25th birthday.
Wow, that's really young.
Very young. Burned bright.
Wow.
And burned quick.
Yeah, he burned up.
So his body was taken to Benton, Arkansas, which is like a little bit south of Little Rock, if people don't know.
Yep.
And according to the Arkansas Gazette, there were thousands of people there who went to see his body. Thousands.
Just to see the outlaw?
Yeah, basically. And like there were so many people that the funeral home placed his body outside so that it'd be easier for the gawkers to come and look at him and be like, yeah, look at that.
Gross.
And they even had like police stationed there to make sure things were orderly and not too wild. And the line was at some point said to be more than 2 blocks long.
Why?
And there were people waiting in line until past midnight.
Wow.
And it was also reported that there were some very expensive orders placed at the local florist shop.
For him?
Yes. And these orders came from places such as Hot Springs and Benton and Townsend, Texas and Oklahoma.
What's in Townsend, Texas?
Townsend, Texas?
Oh, I thought you said Townsend.
No.
Okay,
no.
Towns
located within Texas and Oklahoma.
What's in there? Mobsters?
Probably all of his old mobster friends, because there are no cards accompanying these floral arrangements.
Weird.
But they are very expensive. There was one where the florist received a note that said, "For silent tribute to the betrayed friendship of a convict who proved himself at least a man." And that note was accompanied by 4 $50 bills with instructions to make a floral design that would be worth basically those 4 $50 bills. $200.
How much is that in today money?
I don't know.
Wow.
But basically, take all that money and make as fancy of a floral arrangement as you can to put on his casket.
Wow.
And And this guy's funeral, Tom Slaughter, was attended by an estimated 5,000 people.
Wow. For being such a jerk, he sure did get a lot of people at his funeral.
Yeah, I do wonder how many of them are just like all of the mobster friends he made.
Or gawkers. They're just similar. Just gawkers.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of them were just people who are like, let's go see what the
fuss is about in downtown.
I hear there's a ne'er-do-well. A ne'er-do-well got his comeuppance finally. Let's go see what happened.
Oh, yeah. See here.
So that's the story of Tom Slaughter.
It's a good one.
Old-timey gangster
you
stuff.
like the old-timey ones.
Yeah, because they're usually kind of weird.
Yeah, they are.
Like making yourself look like you have smallpox.
That's pretty.
Which is like
pretty smart.
And I don't
think it would work today.
Probably not. And just the constant breaking out of jail, which is just wild to me.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive, though.
And I've read some other stories that we'll probably do some other time.
About some more characters?
Yeah, where people were like breaking out of jail all the time.
Like him?
Yeah, pretty much.
People are like, oh, another one got away.
Yeah, it seems like it's just a normal day. It's like, there's another jailbreak.
Again.
Yet another jailbreak. Surprise.
Huh. Well, that's a good one.
Yeah, thank you.
I like your older stories.
Yeah, again, they're always weird.
They are.
And strange.
Okay, cool. Well, what are you looking at?
Oh, to start with, Mandalorian Season 2 has started.
Have you started watching it?
Yes. There's only one episode out. They're doing that thing again where they do like one per week.
Yeah, I haven't started watching it yet. What did you think of the first episode?
I liked it, and I'm interested in the ending reveal is very interesting. I won't say anything more than that.
Don't tell me.
There's vampires now in Star Wars.
And they sparkle.
No.
Oh, okay.
No, but it's pretty wild.
Okay.
They're vampires. No.
Yeah.
So I've been watching. I watched that. I've also been watching the Clone Wars TV show.
Yeah.
It's gotten better. Season 1's crap, I think. Season 2, it gets better. Season 3 is where it gets good, and Season 4 is where it gets even better. The show is done like in its arcs, so it's like a several episode arc. So it's like to start with, it's all episodic. Like this episode is this episode, and so on. Whereas like later, it becomes more like, okay, we're gonna tell this story, and it's gonna take 4 episodes to do it. Stuff like that.
Gotcha.
The best thing I've seen was probably the Umbaran arc, which is where they go to Umbara and do a fight. But it's like a really good set of episodes, and it really gets you into like the mentality of the clone troopers and how they kind of view themselves.
How do they view themselves?
As men.
Well, they are.
Yeah, but a lot of people see them as like expendable. They're like, they're just clones. They're just there to be thrown into the meat grinder and just be cannon fodder. It doesn't matter.
But they're men. They're living people.
Yeah, and so that's part of what it's about. Is them struggling with how some people see them and how they see themselves and all this other stuff. And it's also really good because it throws back to an earlier episode where the clones are trapped in space, potentially dying, with one of the Jedis. I think it's... Let me look him up real quick because I think it's this guy. I think it's Plo Koon. Yeah, Plo Koon. And they're like running out of oxygen or whatever because they're stuck in space.
They start killing off clones?
No. There's just like 5 clones or something, and this Jedi guy. And the clones are like, well, nobody's going to come and get us because we're just expendable. Mm-hmm. And Plo Koon's like, not to me.
Aww.
Yeah. But then maybe the person they're hanging out with is a different person in these episodes I was talking about. And maybe he doesn't see them quite that way. He just sees them as numbers. He even refers to them by like their numbers instead of their nicknames they have. So they all have like nicknames like I'm Rex, and that's Hardcase or whatever their stupid names are.
Yeah.
Whereas like the guy they're working with is like CT37 blah blah blah. Not even giving them their names.
Jerk.
But yeah, so that show is actually pretty good, and it's gotten better.
Question.
Okay.
About The Mandalorian.
All right.
I heard that Obi-Wan makes an appearance. Is that true?
No.
He doesn't?
I mean, he'd be dead by this point anyway.
What's Ewan McGregor doing then? Because
they're doing an Obi-Wan TV show.
Oh, yeah, like a whole TV show for Obi-Wan.
Yeah, I think it's just gonna be like 6 episodes or something, like
cool.
a limited thing.
He said he was excited. Like I saw somewhere he tweeted, he's like, the robes were all there and like they're all back. I love Obi-Wan.
Yeah, he's getting a TV show.
Cool.
I think originally they were going to do a movie, but after like Solo didn't do very well, I think they kind of pulled back on that.
Probably a good idea. Is it Disney Plus?
Yeah.
Cool.
And I assume, based on all of the like stuff they've talked about with casting decisions, I would bet that they're also going to do like an Ahsoka show at some point, things like that.
That'd be cool. They
are doing they're doing a Cassian Andor show. He was the guy on Rogue One. Not Jyn Erso. He was the guy at the end. And
I haven't seen Rogue One in a long time.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think it's like Cassian Andor, and I think the robot K2SO, I think is what it was called.
Cool.
The one played by Alan Tudyk.
Oh, okay.
And he was a sassy robot.
He was a sassy robot.
Yeah, he's very sassy.
I like Alan Tudyk.
Sarcastic.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Mandalorian season 2 has started.
Cool.
It's happening.
It's here.
And I don't know what to say about it because people are real crazy about spoilers on Star Wars stuff.
Yeah.
To the point where you can just be like, the basic setup is this, and they'll be like, oh my God, why would you say that? You just gave the whole thing away. And it's like, so y'all need to calm down.
You don't want to say too much.
Right.
Okay.
People freak out too much about that.
Okay.
But there's some...
Was Baby Yoda there?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
There's some really cool, interesting stuff.
Cool.
Another thing.
Yeah.
Star Wars Squadrons.
Another Star Wars.
I am hopped up on Star Wars. I've got Star Wars fever.
Alive with Star Wars.
I am infected with Star Wars.
You came in today and I said, you look like you got a little sun. Did you get some sun? It was just the Star Wars coming out. It wasn't the actual sun.
It was a star. The star went to war with me. That's what happened. But yeah, I am hopped up on some Star Wars right now. So Star Wars Squadrons, it's a video game. You fly around in X-Wings and TIE fighters and shoot stuff.
Is this an old game or a new game?
It's a new game.
Oh.
Came out probably a month ago.
Cool.
So that game's pretty cool. Trying to make up something in my brain of like another Star Wars thing that I would have been looking at. If I can't think of anything. I've been rereading The Long Halloween. It's a Batman story.
Oh, cool. Is it a comic or is it like a story? It
was a comic. It's a good one. I haven't read it in forever. I forgot that
Did you have it?
Good. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah, I have.
This is Nerd Corner with Andrew.
That's right. That's what you're looking at is always going to be.
Pretty much.
If it involves me. Usually not so much Star Wars necessarily.
It's pretty Star Wars heavy. I like it though.
Like Star Wars though, like it gets in my brain in a way.
Yeah. It's just so deep. The universe is just so deep.
Well, it's just like if I hear people talk about Star Wars for like a little while, I'm just going to be like, well, I guess I gotta go watch Star Wars because like it's in my head now.
And now I must watch it.
It's like a song being stuck in your head and you're like, I have to go listen to it for realsies.
Yes.
That's what it does to me. It's like, all right, I go watch A New Hope and Empire and so on.
So good. I think I've said this before, but I know I've told you. I don't remember if I've said it on the podcast, but my dad, when he was a young man in the 70s, it was the first Star Wars, which is what?
A New Hope.
Yeah. It was A New Hope. Came out in theaters. What year did that come out? Do you know?
77, I believe.
That would be about right. Yes. So he would have been like a senior in high school. And he said he and his buddies all went to the movie theater, went to go watch it. And he said he was just sitting there in awe of the movie and just like open mouth watching it. And was like, he said, I remember thinking to myself, there will never be another movie greater than this.
And he was almost right.
He was almost right.
Because The Empire Strikes Back came out.
Yep.
And that one's better.
I mean, this is a man who loves science fiction. So yeah, this is a good one.
Doesn't he like that Dune movie that nobody likes though?
He does. Weird. That was a favorite as a child. Yeah, we watched Dune a lot when I was a kid. He's a sci-fi loving man.
Yeah, but I didn't think anybody liked that movie.
Well,
for whatever reason.
It was really weird, but I thought it was weird as a kid. But I mean, I like sci-fi. I'm excited for the new Dune.
Who is gonna?
Timothy Chalamet.
Who's gonna do the part where they wear the weird underwear?
I don't know. I know what you're talking about, though.
Yeah.
Didn't Sting what?
Yeah.
Sting's coming back for it.
Sting, the singer, not the professional wrestler.
Yeah, Sting was in the original Dune, and he wore some weird underwear. He rocked it pretty good.
And just that weird underwear.
Yeah, it was weird.
That's the important part.
I don't know who's going to be playing his part.
Because I think I tried to look up who he played, and I didn't see the name listed in the new one.
I vote Sting comes back and reprises his role. Underwear included.
Are you sure you want that?
It'd be a little older, but that's okay. Still talented, right?
He's probably over 30 years older now, because that movie came out in, the 80s?
Over 30 years older.
So,
easily. He'd be in his 60s, 70s.
I've seen what 30 years has done to my body. I don't...
From when you were an infant?
Yes. Nothing good has happened. It's a bad time.
Oh, man. What else?
That's about it for me.
All right. I have some things to discuss.
Okay.
First off, I was sent in an interesting story by one of our faithful listeners. Her name is Faith.
Is it spelled weird like your other friends?
No.
Okay.
So she was telling me about a story that happened recently, and I hadn't heard about it. And this was in the news. This was in Highland area of Arkansas. There's an area called Highland in northern Arkansas. So it was in that area.
Yes, I've been there.
I have too. So this is what she said. So this 24-year-old guy found a hidden key to a 72-year-old woman's house, got in her house, went into her room, and stabbed her over 100 times. Then he took this is graphic, everybody, graphic warning. He took a hot curling iron and burned her skin with some kind of pattern. Then he went to, it was either a friend or an ex-girlfriend's house, and stabbed and killed her, and then burned her with a curling iron as well. Then he and his friend and another girl went to go rob the girl's ex-boyfriend's house, and he went nuts and started stabbing her too. The last girl is still alive though. And then he got out of the car and was walking down the street, and these people saw him and asked if he was okay because he was just covered in blood. And he told him something about his girlfriend had cut herself and then took off into the woods trying to run away. And finally the cops found him because they suspected him, and they found him somewhere and they put him in jail. And I was like, oh my gosh, what in the world? I said, there had to be drugs involved. And she said, oh yeah, he was definitely on drugs. And she said it was very weird, totally insane. He confessed every bit of it. He just said it all. He confessed to all of it. And the judge set no bail. So he's just being held. He's not being let out at all because he is unstable. But I'm like, that is what drugs will do to your brain, man. And apparently he's in a cell alone in isolation. And yeah.
Probably for the best that he's in isolation, I assume. It sounds like he would just be like a madman.
And this brings me to another question, which we've discussed before. If you're all hyped up on drugs and your brain is addled to the point you don't know what the heck you're doing, can you be held liable for what you did at that time? Because it's the same thing where you were incompetent at that time. You didn't know what you were doing because your brain was so messed up on drugs, and you might have thought you were rescuing the princess of another planet or something. Something weird. You know what I mean? How do you just like Ricky Ray?
Kind of. I think in this case, because Ricky was competent when he did his crimes. Yeah, that's part of the weird debate of that one.
Which we did an episode on this. If you don't know what we're talking about, go back and listen to it.
But with what you're talking about, they've probably. This has probably come up plenty of times for court cases.
Hey, you know what?
And I assume they're just you go to jail because it was you
did it.
You did the drugs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah.
If you get drunk and then go and drive into somebody, you're going to get in trouble because you knew what you were doing.
Yeah, that's true.
To some extent.
Yeah. That's true. Good. That's a good. Yeah. Okay. Thanks for that.
Yeah.
And I put in my notes.
Lawyered by somebody who doesn't have a college degree.
Not a lawyer. I put in my notes message to Andrew, so I'm trying to figure out what. Oh.
Is this somebody mad at me again because I made fun of their name or what?
No, it was the message on Facebook message. This was I don't know. I may not talk about it I don't know. Let me mention it. Okay, I'm going to mention it. This was all in the news. Arkansas suspect identified in 1974 killing a 5-year-old Montana girl.
Yeah, you told me about that one.
Yeah. I don't know if I might cover it. So I don't know if I want to talk about it now. But, I mean, just like I sent you that and I put like a bunch of exclamation points and I was like, age of justice. And it was like, DNA is so crazy right now. Like, you better watch out because, if you were naughty, Santa Claus, some kind of story in there. I don't know. But yeah, it's happening. It's happening. Cold cases are being solved.
It is.
It's really exciting.
I do wish there were like other cold cases they could solve, like who was murdering those people in Texarkana.
Yes.
From last week. But it doesn't seem like there's any effort there.
No.
And probably not anything to go on.
There's probably no leads. But I wish, just like some other more modern cases, like Morgan Nick, I would love, I'm sure loads of people would love to see some justice there. That's what's frustrating about cold cases is that you want to see it through. You want to see the end. You want to see justice. And it's not fair for the families that don't receive it. Yeah,
and especially because you don't even get closure.
No, yeah.
Because they haven't even found her at all. So.
And maybe she's alive. Maybe she's not. That's the thing. There's no closure. There's no definitive answer. Also, I finished Unsolved Mysteries yesterday.
Oh, okay. How was it?
It was pretty good. There wasn't any weird alien stuff. They did I think the stories were done really, really well this season. I want to talk about a specific episode. It was filmed in Japan. And
I'm familiar with Japan.
Have you heard of that? It's a place. It's a country.
I like their wrestling.
Okay. It was about, so there was an earthquake and tsunami back in, I think it was like 2011, I believe. And it was on
there was one like this year.
Right, but there was like a devastating one.
Yeah.
In like 2000. I'm sure anything. Yeah, but it was like horribly devastating. And it was on I believe the east coast of Japan. I cannot remember the town name. But anyway, it was just awful, horribly devastating. Like 20,000 people died. I mean, awful, awful, awful. And the filmers, the film crew actually goes to Japan and it's all translated. You have to read it all. What is that called?
Like subtitles?
Yes, it's all subtitled because they went, it's these Japanese in their home, but anyways, I'm sitting here crying at this Unsolved Mysteries episode because not to ruin it if anybody's going to watch it, but I'm going to. They were talking to some survivors of the tsunami, and there was one fellow who said that like when the tide, went back into the ocean or whatever, it was just devastation, mass devastation everywhere. There was just debris everywhere. They're still cleaning up from it today. And he said they were looking for people and stuff. And he said he passed by a bamboo forest not far from where his home was. And draped across the top of the bamboo was his teenage daughter. And she had passed away. And he said she just looked so peaceful. It looked like she was just kind of sleeping up there. And then I was just like, oh my gosh. And I was like not expecting it to be so emotional. And I started like tearing up. And he said, and then 3 miles away, we found my wife and she was dead. And he said, and then a couple of days later, they were moving debris and somebody said, I found a baby. And it was his youngest child. He lost his entire family. And he, I think Japanese people are notoriously fairly stoic, and he was just like trying so hard. I mean, he was getting teary eyed. And it's like, for a Japanese man to show that kind of emotion is like, it was heartbreaking. And there was just like multiple stories like that. But anyway, the whole point of that episode is about Tsunami Spirits. And so again, spoilers. It's about people because tsunamis are so quick and devastating. And it's, supposedly these spirits that that come about when tsunamis occur. And it's these people that are just like wet and cold. And, they're these spirits that visit people's houses and they're not malicious. They're just like, please help me. I'm cold. I'm wet. Do you have some dry clothes for me? And you're supposed to help them. You're supposed to help the spirits and to give them closure. There's a reverend there, a pastor, they called him a reverend, but anyways, he had to tell them, like, you're in the tsunami, you're no longer, you've passed away, it's okay. And I was just like, and the reverend, like, of course is from that town and lost so many people he knew as well. And I was just like, through like the entire episode, I'm just like steady streams of tears. It was so sad. It was so sad. And it just broke my heart that just like these people all of a sudden are with their families and then they're not. Their families are just gone. And like how these spirits are just not ready for that. And so they just linger around. And anyway, that would have been that goes with the spookies, but not in a bad way. It was very, very touching. It was a very well done episode. I was very impressed with it, but I was not expecting that from Unsolved Mysteries, let me tell you, because I'm used to the show from the 90s where they drop some alien knowledge on you. But anyways, it was very good, very well done. Yes, good season.
All right. Glad to hear it.
Thank you. What else?
Oh, I don't know. I've been watching Community as well. I don't know.
You watched it again?
Yeah, sort of.
Yeah.
It's in my rotation of shows that I put on so that I can fall asleep because I've seen it 1,000 times.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to miss anything.
It's interesting that you say something about this. I was talking about this today with somebody. Shows like Community, Friends, Parks and Rec, The Office, things like that. People, I guess psychologists or psychiatrists or whatever, say that like it's almost like a calming mechanism. Like a show that gives us comfort. It's easy to watch. It's kind of calming to our minds. It's humorous. It's light. It's almost like an adult pacifier, essentially, because it's predictable. We know. And they said it's like, it's good for you to rewatch shows that you're familiar with because it's very calming. Yeah.
And another one I can throw in there, even though it's like horrible things are always happening, is like original Star Trek.
It's a good show.
It's just like, I've seen
it's predictable. We know it.
I've seen it. And again, like the purpose is, I like having noise of some sort when I fall asleep.
Yeah.
And
you like the starship noises to sleep.
That's a good one. Yeah.
That's a YouTube channel. You can look up starship noise and it sounds like
it's just the hum
of the
from
starship.
Like Star Trek.
That's so funny.
It just feels good.
It actually is like
nice little white noise.
Pretty calming. Yeah.
Yeah. So Community's like back on the rotation right now after The Office was on it. Most recently. I guess I had to get those Office views in before it moves off to Peacock.
No, nobody's gonna get that.
Well, to be fair, Peacock does have like a free tier, I think.
Oh, okay, with ads or something.
Yeah, it may not have every show on there or something, but like some of the stuff. It's not
gonna have The Office or 30 Rock.
Probably not.
Or Parks and Rec.
30 Rock is a good show. I haven't watched that in a while.
Put that on rotation.
Yeah. It's not. I don't think it's on Netflix, but I do have Hulu, and it is on there, so it's fine. It's fine for me.
It's fine.
Not fine for people out there who don't have Hulu.
It's fine.
Arkansas State sucks at football again, so that's great.
Oh, they were doing so good.
Seemed like it. They've lost 3 games by at least 28 points.
Dang.
In conference.
It's a weird year.
Yeah.
Alyssa watched Haunting of Hill House. Alyssa's my best friend. She watched Haunting of Hill House. And I was like, it took a little convincing. I was like, no, you have to watch it. And she's like, I don't know, it's scary. I was like, it's not about the scaries. And then I told her that I cry every time. 4th time? I watched it 4 times. And she was like, I didn't cry, but it was really, really good. I was like,
yeah, I didn't cry either.
Well, I cried enough for the both of us, so it's fine.
There you go.
I was like, in fact, when Alyssa told me, she was like, okay, I'm in the last episode. I'm at the place where they're spoiler, where they're all in the place.
Oh, okay.
Where they're all in the place, the siblings.
Just say like, we went out of our way to not spoil it last week, so I was just making sure you didn't spoil it here.
Oh, okay.
Just randomly.
Okay, where all the siblings are in the place. And anyways, I was like, you know what? I'm going to watch the last like 10 or 15 minutes. And I did just that. I just went to Netflix on my phone and just went to the last 10 or 15 minutes of the last episode. Guess what I did?
You laughed.
I did not.
Oh.
I cried. I was just like sitting there just like little tears just rolling down my face. It's so good.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
I like the show.
It's a good show.
Bly Manor, I didn't cry.
It sounds like you didn't feel much of anything but contempt for Bly Manor.
It was just okay. Did you watch it yet?
No.
You didn't watch it.
You made it sound like it wasn't very good, so I didn't want to. I don't get time for not very good things.
You don't?
No.
Okay.
I'm not wasting my time. I have too many options for things that people actually like
that
I don't find time for. I'm not going to make time for something that you're just like, not that good, don't watch it. I'm not going to go out of my way to do that.
Listen, I think I might be in the minority though, so because I've heard people who were like, I really liked it, and I was like, okay, that's cool. I don't know.
I'm going to look up their ratings here
on Rotten Tomatoes or something.
Yeah.
What did you find out there, Andy Rue?
I'm still working on it.
Oh, come on, type faster.
Has a 7.5 user score on IMDb.
That's pretty good. What does Rotten Tomatoes say about it? Is it Rotten Tomatoes like critics?
It has both critics and an audience.
Oh, okay.
Score.
All right.
Like separately.
Okay,
so this... Now, Rotten Tomatoes, like their rating system is basically like the percentage that are just positive. So if everything was like a 7, if the show was a 7 and every single review is a 7, that's still like 100%, even though it's only a 7 out of 10. So that's like a thing you got to think about when you look at Rotten Tomatoes scores. The critic rating is 88%.
See?
But the audience score is only 62.
Well.
Which is interesting.
Anywhere between 62 to 88. So there you go.
Is the show kind of boring? Because
it is a slow start. The last 2 episodes are pretty good, but it's definitely, it's like they had to pause for COVID, I think, for a while, and then they came back to it. It's like they had time to like figure out like, maybe we should do this with the script. Let's do this. And I think they had to leave part of some of the story out because of time constraints because of COVID. Because there's one character I saw in the background that they never explain their story.
Okay. So I was just wondering because a lot of times, especially with horror stuff,
yes,
if it isn't like jump scares and murders all day, just all day, you'll often have like the tomato scores. The critics will be high and the audience will be low. Like Hereditary, for instance, I'm looking at, which I remembered specifically being this way. 89% critics, all the way down 67 for audience. Also, Haunting of Hill House, it was 93 and a 91.
Wow. So. It was, I'm telling you, great show. Yeah, Hereditary is pretty much crap. No, it was a well done movie, but I'd rather not watch it again. Thank you.
Yeah, I just think it's one of those things where like the movie, it's not enough about like murder and stabbing all day.
Yeah.
And so I think there's not a bunch of jump scares really.
Yeah.
And so those seem to always get low audience scores.
Gotcha.
Like Midsummer only has a 63% audience score.
Don't want to watch that again either. But yeah. Anyway, what else?
I don't know. Do you have anything else?
I have one thing, and you're going to hate me for this.
Oh, no.
You're going to hate me.
I might.
It is November. It is, in fact, November 2nd at the time of this recording.
No Shave November.
Sure, you can do that. Yeah, do it.
Nobody wants that.
Okay. But it is November, and I'm going to be cheesy at the end of the episode. I think that we both need to say something we're thankful for. Do you want me to go first?
Yeah, and take a while. really stall this one out for me.
I want to say today I am thankful for a job because I've there for a while. I got even though I am a nurse, it was in my department that I specifically work at. We do a lot of outpatient procedures, and it was a little hairy there for a while, But they provided different opportunities to work elsewhere in the hospital. I was able to keep my hours, and now we're back up to full time, and we did just get hospital-wide raises. So I am incredibly grateful for that. Yeah, so that rocking life that way.
All right. I'm thankful that this whole nation has yet to collapse.
You're so optimistic.
Just like, being able to keep the food supply going.
Yeah.
Even though food got like more expensive,
yeah,
it's still there.
Yeah.
I haven't had to worry about like, where's the food going to be?
Yeah.
Am I going to have to go fight people for the food now?
Yeah.
So that's been nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
That's a good one because it got pretty hairy there for a while.
Yeah, people at the beginning were flipping out and buying all the goddamn bread.
Yeah, just calm down. Just calm down. Just calm down.
But yeah, so there's that.
That's a good one. That's a very serious one.
Yeah.
Okay, so COVID tried to ruin our lives, but we're not going to let it. Yay.
Yeah, in your face, COVID. My life was already ruined.
Ha! Joke's on you.
That's right.
But anyway, that's it. That's all I got.
Okay, well, and good luck, everybody.
Yeah.
This is going out on Election Day.
We hope this brings you light and joy on a day that could be full of darkness.
Yes. We hope you all voted for the correct people and things.
Whoever that may be for you.
No, for us.
Okay. For us.
If you have questions, just think, what would Andrew do? And then if you wouldn't do what I would do, then just stay home and don't vote.
Oh, God. Andrew's very much an opportunistic man. Everybody has an opportunity to be an American. All right, guys, I think that about wraps it. Thank you so much for stopping by to see us. You can catch us on our many different platforms. We're even on YouTube. Check us out there. Amazon, Stitcher, Pocket Cast, iTunes. Literally all of them, okay?
Yeah, I don't know of anything that we're not on.
Yeah. But if you do, let us know and we'll add it. You can catch us on Facebook, Paint the Town Dead. You can catch us on Instagram, Paint the Town Dead, all one word. You can catch us on Twitter at PTTDpod. And you can email us at pttdpod@gmail.com. Please, 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 please subscribe, rate, a 5-star rating, like, share, comment. Any interaction you have with us definitely helps us out. And we greatly appreciate it, you guys.
And go vote or don't.
Yeah, this is the time. Guys, have a wonderful Tuesday. We'll see you next week. Goodbye now.